We're back with Brett Ullman. 5 years ago, he experienced a nervous breakdown that led to being diagnosed with anxiety and depression. Well, according to the Canadian Mental Health Association, 20% of Canadians will personally experience a mental health illness in their lifetime. Now, Brett, you were talking a little bit about your relationship with God, and you've been really honest with me, which I appreciate. It hasn't been easy clinging on to this relationship with God. Tell us about that journey.
I think I remember going to my counselor once, and one of the hardest things I've said to a counselor, from a Christian standpoint, is saying, I don't feel God anymore. Because I think we put our feelings and our faith in one. And so I said, I don't feel God anymore. And the response was a very simple line, which is, you're depressed, right? And I said, yeah. And it was, do you connect with your wife in that feeling way? No. Your kids? No. Your friends? No. And she said, then don't expect to connect with God in that way. And I think I cried. It was one of the moments someone just said, you're okay. And I think John Ortenberg says, we're known by our fruits, we're not known by our feelings. Like, no one ever says I have a feeling in God. You say I have a faith in God. So like, why do I still believe in God? Because it's true, right? It's not I believe in God because I have a feeling. I believe in Christian faith because I believe it to be true. The feeling component is one that's hard and tough, but I still believe, and I still, continue to do what I do because I'm seeing good fruits. And for people who don't know that analogy, it's not grapes and strawberries, right? It's in good things that are happening. People are dealing with addictions and mental health and getting closer in their faith and dealing with marriage and issues and stuff like that. But faith is a journey. For those of us who struggle with mental health, it's kind of like there's a wall between us and God, and it's trying to figure out how to continue down that journey, even though that wall's there.
Let's talk about the church community and what the church community can do better in helping those within sitting in our pews that might be struggling with mental health issues.
Well, I say this gracefully, many people talk to me about how the Christian community wasn't helpful, it was more hurtful. Because I think people don't know what to say, so they say Christian cliches, and they say just statements. Everything happens for a reason. God won't give you more than you can handle. Just these quick things. But something like everything happens for a reason, we as the people who are struggling are left to try to figure out, well, what is that reason? Even though, things can be made for the good. God is working along with me in this journey to make this something good. And it is. I'm able to speak. I'm able to be, here talking to the people who watch this show. But I think we as Christians need to learn more about mental health. And understand, there's a difference between worry and anxiety. There's a difference between someone being sad and someone being depressed. I posted a blog last week which was talking about how even today the language we all use in society is all language from psychiatry. Like, someone is doing a school presentation and they say, well, I have anxiety disorder. It's like, no, you're nervous. Or if someone's going to a party that they have no friends at, they say that, well, they have social anxiety. It's like, no, you're going to a party, you don't know anyone. Like, we're using kind of language, and then it kind of takes away from those of us who do have real, actual disorders. But the church, I think, needs to realize that, I always just say, the church can become a relevant, accepting place for those of us who struggle with mental health by doing one thing, just by talking about it. My favorite talk that I do is doing my Walking Wounded talk, which is my talk on mental health, on a Sunday morning in church. And it's the day where we just say, hey, we know people struggle, so here's the talk. And then after, the church, like a pastor comes up and says, so here's how we help. Here's our prayer teams, or here is our counseling people, or here, one church even had everyone from nutrition and how to have a good night's sleep. Like, they kind of had the whole body, mind, and soul analogy, which I really like.
Awesome. Thanks again, Brett.
Thank you.
And, if what Brett has chatted about, and as he so authentically and candidly talked about his story, if that kind of resonates with you, if maybe you're going through a similar challenge, I would love for you to call our prayer lines. We have amazing prayer partners that would love to pray with you and maybe even direct you to someone who can help you in your journey, maybe with mental health illness, or maybe if you know somebody in your family that needs to connect with someone who can help them in that journey. The number's at the bottom of your screen, 1-866-273-4444. Stay with us. We'll be right back.